The 6-week abortion ban that Florida Governor Ron DeSantis signed this year and former President Donald Trump have received little public commentary. Trump recently criticized Florida's new abortion restrictions as being too harsh, to which DeSantis retaliated, "I was proud to do it." He wouldn't say whether or not he would sign it. DeSantis has positioned himself to the right of the outgoing president on a variety of topics, not just abortion. DeSantis has taken positions on immigration, guns, and the COVID-19 vaccine that will appeal to the party's most conservative voters as he prepares a run for the White House. And it isn't just empty words. DeSantis has pushed for significant new laws that will make Florida a place where it's very difficult to get an abortion and simple to carry a gun in public, where undocumented migrants are not welcome, and where doctors with extreme viewpoints are free to practice medicine. These new laws, which were passed by Republican supermajorities in the state legislature, are part of a larger effort by DeSantis to use his political influence to win policy victories that could outperform any potential rivals in a presidential primary. The former president is battling to keep hold of the conservative voters whose support he once easily commanded, as well as to broaden his appeal to voters outside of his base, which is why he made the decision to outflank Trump. Even though polls indicate that Trump has a significant advantage over DeSantis, he has recently come into conflict with some of his most ardent supporters, including pastors, anti-abortion organizations, and gun rights activists, as he runs for another 4 years in office. DeSantis, meanwhile, received positive feedback from voters when he made an appearance in Sioux County, Iowa, on Saturday. This is a strongly red county in the northwest of the state, where Trump received 82% of the vote, and where politics are heavily influenced by evangelicalism. The indication included a plea to protect children from conception onward before DeSantis spoke. In a conversation captured by CNN, Jim Dean, who hosted the event at his vintage car museum, said to DeSantis afterward, "There's a lot of Trump fatigue. He simply doesn't represent our values in this region of the world, you know. Although we support many of his policies, the underlying moral framework is lacking." However, DeSantis' action carries some risk. The Florida governor is wasting the opportunity to run as a less divisive Trump and win over moderates and suburban women, eager to forget about the former president, according to even close allies who have privately expressed concern. For a popular leader who has already garnered attention through his conflict with Disney and disagreements over parents' rights in the classroom, they view these efforts to placate the base as unnecessary. The 6-week abortion ban DeSantis signed is considered too restrictive for much of the country and is likely to hurt the governor of Florida, especially with more moderate female voters, according to Trump advisors who agree in private. And if DeSantis wins the GOP nomination, Democrats on Tuesday gave a preview of the coming attacks. His ban on abortion was described as extreme by the Democratic National Committee, which added that it rips away women's ability to make their own healthcare decisions before many even know they're pregnant, threatens to throw doctors in jail, and could force women and young girls to flee the state for care or carry out a medically risky pregnancy. Few wealthy donors have publicly voiced their opposition to Florida's new abortion law, which outlaws the procedure after 6 weeks of pregnancy, with only a few exceptions for rape, incest, or the mother's health. However, a number of DeSantis fundraisers insisted to CNN that despite this, the majority of significant GOP donors continue to support the governor. DeSantis, for his part, has positioned himself as a governor who doesn't shy away from contentious topics. In Peoria, Illinois, on Friday, DeSantis addressed Republicans. "We made sure to go on offense, and not just be in office like some potted plant," he said. "And we knew that holding an executive position in a governorship required leadership as well as policy correctness." Prior to the 2024 election, it appeared unlikely that any GOP candidate could defeat Trump on a number of social issues, particularly abortion. By nominating the 3 Supreme Court justices who voted to overturn Roe v. Wade, Trump gave the anti-abortion movement its biggest victory in history. Trump has recently come under fire, though, for his reluctance to support the next phase of this conflict: national legislation to restrict abortion. Trump's suggestion that abortion should be regulated at the state level drew a rebuke from Susan B. Anthony Pro-Life America last month, who labeled it a morally indefensible position for a self-proclaimed pro-life presidential candidate to hold. Shortly after, Marjorie Denenfelser, the organization's president, changed her mind following a terrific meeting with Trump at Mar-a-Lago. In a statement, she added that Trump opposed late-term abortions and reiterated his belief that any federal abortion legislation must include exceptions for situations involving rape, incest, and a mother's life. Then, during a CNN town hall in New Hampshire, Trump muddled his stance once more by declining to specify when a pregnancy abortion should be made illegal. "Some people are at 6 weeks, some people are at 3 weeks, some people are at 2 weeks, Trump told CNN's Caitlin Collins. President Trump will decide what he believes to be best for the nation. Trump has privately blamed abortion for Republican losses in the 2022 midterm elections, despite his role in overturning Roe v. Wade, and told advisors he doesn't think it's a winning issue for the GOP in 2024. Nevertheless, in the midst of their argument, the former president praised his contribution to the historic decision. After 50 years of failure, with nobody even coming close, I was able to kill Roe v. Wade, much to the shock of everyone, and for the first time put the pro-life movement in a strong negotiating position over the radicals that are willing to kill babies even into their 9th month and beyond, Trump wrote on Truth Social. Without me, there wouldn't be a 6-week, 10-week, 15-week, or other agreed-upon period. The pro-life movement would have continued to lose without me. I appreciate it, President Trump. In a statement, DeSantis said that CNN expects all presidential candidates to, at the very least, honor the will of the American people and the humanity of the child in the womb by opposing abortions after 15 weeks. When asked if DeSantis supports a federal ban on abortion, neither his political operation nor his gubernatorial staff provided a response. He signed the 6-week ban late at night in a private setting and has largely avoided discussing it. DeSantis, however, supported the law on Tuesday and provided a glimpse into how he might use it to stoke animosity between Trump and pro-life voters. Almost certainly 99% of pro-lifers support protecting an unborn child when there is a detectable heartbeat, he said. Early on, DeSantis made it clear that he intended to follow Trump's lead on at least one issue: the response to the pandemic. His support for the coronavirus vaccine waned as conservative skepticism increased, despite him being an early and ardent supporter who once praised its potential to save lives. By the end of 2021, DeSantis had ordered a special session of the legislature to ban mandatory vaccination laws, but he would not confirm whether he had received a booster shot. More recently, DeSantis has led his state to prevent medical professionals from being punished for advocating vaccine opposition or other viewpoints that are at odds with conventional wisdom. His own Surgeon General, Joseph Ladapo, has come under fire for allegedly falsifying data in a study that led the state to discourage young men from getting the Moderna vaccine and purportedly showed increased risks of the vaccine. At least in Florida, where vaccination rates have fallen behind other states after taking an early lead, DeSantis' actions have undermined one of Trump's chief achievements as president. In response, Trump appeared to label DeSantis gutless for declining to confirm whether he had received a boost. In a recent interview, Trump rejected conspiracy theories about vaccines and defended the shot. "I was able to get something approved that, that has proven to have saved a lot of lives," said Trump. At the CNN town hall, supporters of DeSantis applauded Collins as she pressed Trump on his administration's failure to complete the border wall between the US and Mexico. DeSantis has also frequently stated that he wants a wall, serving as a constant reminder that despite all of Trump's promises, there isn't one. The comprehensive crackdown on illegal immigration into Florida was just signed into law by DeSantis, with the goal of discouraging undocumented people from entering the state. The bill imposes penalties on employers who knowingly hire unauthorized aliens, and mandates that businesses with at least 25 employees verify each employee's legal status against the federally verified database. Immigration hardliners have been pushing for this provision for years with little success. Trump pledged to strengthen and expand E-Verify as a candidate in 2016, but later claimed it was so tough to implement for many employers, and left out of his administration's disastrous plan to change immigration laws. In New Hampshire, Trump also defended his executive order banning bump stocks, an accessory that allows a semi-automatic rifle to fire continuous bursts of ammunition. In response to an audience member's inquiry about his Second Amendment credentials, Trump claimed that the National Rifle Association had also backed the ban. A request for comment from the NRA was not answered. A super PAC backing DeSantis' political ambitions, Never Back Down, pounced on the response. The group referred to Trump's modest gun safety measure as gun control on Twitter, and published a video of the former president appearing to support other firearms restrictions like red flag laws, which allow courts to intervene and take firearms away from people who are deemed by law enforcement to be a threat to themselves or others. DeSantis, on the other hand, urged lawmakers to eliminate one of Florida's few gun laws, which calls for training and a permit to carry a concealed weapon in public. Despite persistent lobbying from gun advocates, he declared that he would go further and permit open carry of firearms in public, a step too far for even Republican lawmakers in his state. DeSantis has also declared his opposition to the red flag law and 21-year-old gun ownership age that were established by Florida's bipartisan legislation that was passed in the wake of the Parkland High School shooting. DeSantis promised to come back for more after he signed the legislation ending concealed carry permits. The Gun Owners of America's Director of Federal Affairs, Aiden Johnston, claimed that many members of his group have conflicting opinions regarding the Trump administration. Although Johnston did not say whether the group would support DeSantis, he claimed that the Florida governor has demonstrated that he understands the Second Amendment by his words and his actions.